I was locking up the laundromat at 1 a.m. when a woman slid through the propped door and breathed, "Please don't say I'm here." 10 seconds later, a black SUV crawled into the lot with its headlights off. Two men got out, walking slow, checking between the parked cars like they were counting something. One of them tapped on my window. "You seen a woman come through? Dark hair, red jacket? She's not thinking straight, we're worried about her." I looked past him at the empty street and said the first thing that came to me. "Somebody ran past maybe 5 minutes ago, toward the gas station." He nodded, said thanks, and the SUV rolled off toward the corner. I stood there gripping my keys so hard the teeth cut into my palm. When I turned around, the woman had crawled out from behind the folding table, and under the buzzing fluorescent lights, I got a real look at her. Younger than me, maybe 22, barefoot, a rope burn circling one wrist like a bracelet made of injury. She was shaking so hard her teeth clicked. "Please," she said, "I can't go back in that van. I live in the unit above the laundromat, which my uncle owns and lets me manage rent-free." I brought her upstairs, locked the deadbolt, and pushed my desk chair under the doorknob, a thing I'd only ever seen in movies and never thought I'd actually do. My hands wouldn't stop trembling. "What's your name?" "Sophia." She was staring at the bowl of clementines on my counter like she'd forgotten fruit could just sit somewhere unguarded. I handed her the bowl, and she peeled one with shaking fingers and ate it whole, seeds and all, without seeming to notice. Then it came out in pieces. 8 months ago, she'd answered an ad for a hospitality staffing agency, promising hotel work in a city 2 states from home. They took her passport at the airport for processing and never gave it back. The job was real in the sense that a building existed. Everything else was a lie. The wages went to training fees and housing costs that never stopped accumulating, no matter how many double shifts she worked. 4 other women lived in the same unit above the restaurant, rotated between 3 properties, so no landlord ever saw the same face twice. Tonight, for the first time in 8 months, the side door had been left unlocked during a delivery. "There weren't even guards," she said, staring at the clementine peel in her hand like it belonged to someone else's life. "Everyone thinks there has to be a locked door. There doesn't. You just stop believing you're allowed to leave." I called 911 and gave the dispatcher everything. The SUV, the plate number I'd memorized without meaning to, Sophia's description of the restaurant. She told me to stay on the line, keep the door locked. Officers were coming. That's when light swept across my window. The SUV was back, parked crossways in the alley below. Footsteps on the metal stairs. A knock, firm, almost cheerful. "Hey, sorry to bug you. Our friend wandered off. She's got some issues. We just want to get her somewhere safe." Sophia pressed herself into the gap between my dresser and the wall, not crying. Gone quiet in a way that looked practiced, like she'd rehearsed exactly how small a person could become. "Nobody came up here," I called through the door. "Already told the other guys she went toward the gas station." A pause. Then the doorknob turned, testing slow. The dispatcher's voice was steady in my ear. "Units are 90 seconds out. Do not open that door." Outside, the friendliness dropped out of his voice entirely. "We know she's in there. Open up. This doesn't have to be a thing." The door frame cracked. I stepped into the narrow hallway between him and Sophia and grabbed the only heavy object in the apartment, a cast iron skillet off the stove hook. Then, sirens, close and rising, the best sound I'd ever heard. Boots pounded back down the stairs. Tires screamed. Through the blinds, I watched 2 men get put face down on the pavement beside their SUV. The officers were followed 20 minutes later by 2 agents from a task force who looked at Sophia's wrist and her story and immediately started making calls. One told me the restaurant matched an ongoing trafficking investigation, that at least 4 more women were still inside, and that a raid would happen before sunrise so no one could be moved first. It did. All 4 were found. I learned the rest a week later. Sophia called her sister from my kitchen table at 3 a.m. I don't speak Portuguese, but I didn't need to understand the words to understand the sound. Her sister screaming with relief on the other end while Sophia held my phone like it might vanish. Before the agents took her to a shelter, she stopped at my door. "Why did you lie for me? You'd never even seen me." I still don't have a good answer. She works at a bakery now, 2 towns over. Every few weeks she shows up at closing time with coffee for both of us, and I've stopped trying to pay her back for it.